We'll start it. You can go ahead. I'll
Okay.
clip.
Well, good morning. So I'm very pleased to be here. Mr. Williams makes it sound like that I'm the reason you guys had to take College Success because I started, but it is a very valuable course. And I have noticed that students who have gone through College Success who are in my program are more ready, more ready to learn. And of course, I'm going to cough soon. And this program is very valuable. Our students have noticed too that it helps them with their time management, and I'm going to talk to you about the rigor of this program and how much you're going to need time management. So how many of you have chosen a career already? How many of you have chosen nursing? Lots of you. When you say nursing, what nursing are we talking about? ADN? Anybody vocational nursing? And those of you, we all know, right, that you don't want to be an ADN. A VN. Nobody wants to be a VN, right? Because they're going away. Have you heard that? That nobody's going to lead them any longer. You have heard misinformation and a rumor that is not true. Vocational nursing is here to stay, and it's very much needed. Have you ever heard about the National League of Nursing? The National League of Nursing it's the largest accreditation body of nursing programs in the United States. It's the organization that puts together the test that nurses take for licensure, both RN and vocational nurses. And they say that vocational nurses are an integral part of healthcare and will be for the foreseeable future. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is a national bureau, has stated that there will be a need for vocational nursing into the year 2022. Not only a need, but an annual increase, which means every year a 20% increase in the need for vocational nurses. Now, can anybody think of a reason why this might be true? You are right on track. So tell me about that.
I'm not sure what years they were born. What was it?
It was 1945, until I don't know what year it was, but they were. So all these people are what? Are retiring, right? And we also have another. So we have a huge influx of older people. Also, the elderly, the people over 80, is the largest growing segment of our society. It does not mean that we'll have more people over 80 than any other. It just means it's growing faster than any other. So every day when you look in the paper, you see people who died at 100 or have a 103rd birthday, something like that. So we know that there's more elderly people. So I'm going to come back to this part right now. What do LVNs do? Does anybody know? Just give me a guess. What do LVNs do? What?
Medication.
Okay, they administer medications. What else?
They help out the RNs.
That's not a really true statement. It's not like you are the CNA who comes behind the RN and does. Okay, but it's partially true. It's not help out. You work under the supervision of an RN, a physician. The definition of a vocational nurse is to care for people with predictable outcomes. That means they have no acute illnesses at present, under the supervision of an RN, a physician, a nurse practitioner, a physician's assistant, or a dentist. That's the definition. So what do? They do help nurses, RNs, by gathering data, by assessing. What else do they do? Can they give IV meds? They can in Texas. Where do they work?
Hospitals.
Not many work in hospitals anymore. A few. And hospitals are starting to hire again. What? Home health. Where else? Daycares. Where else? What? Hospice. The largest portion of them work in one other area. Think about elderly people. Long-term care, which is like nursing homes. So because we have older people and they're going to be cared for in the community, which is where LVNs work, we have a need for LVNs. LVNs make, on the average, in the valley, about $40,000 a year. That's not to begin with. That's the average median pay. So hospitals pay the least as a general rule. As I said, we're starting to see hospitals starting to hire LVNs. I'm not sure where they're going to work, because they're not supposed to take care of people who have acute illnesses, like in the emergency room, don't belong there. Don't belong in intensive care, not labor and delivery, because labor and delivery is a very high risk area. Most of the time it's nice, but when it's not, then we need RNs there. So I'm not sure where they're going to work, but that is some of the thought. Outpatient surgery is a place where LVNs work. I had a procedure in an outpatient surgery unit the other day, and I never go anyplace in healthcare, a healthcare facility, that I don't see some of my graduates. Sometimes they progress to the RN program, sometimes they're LVNs. So I saw one of my graduates from 6 years ago, he's now an RN, and he's, how are you? It's so nice to see you. And he tells everybody, take good care of this lady. And then he brings all his friends who are CNAs, patient care techs, whatever, and brings them all to me to come talk to me. You need to go see her because you need to get your education. So that's what we tell all of our students. You need to push everybody to get an education. Most of you want to be RNs. How many ways are there at STC to get to be an RN? Can somebody tell me? Well, let's go start with the first one. What's the way most of you are headed? Traditional. The traditional track. And that means, what does traditional mean? What does that mean?
Like straight to RN?
It means that you get your prerequisites, you apply, and if you're accepted, how many years do you go? 2 years. Now, my question is, what happens if you're not accepted? Do you have a plan B? So let's talk about plan B. So what's another way to get to be an RN? You said LVN to RN. So this is one way. This is the LVN to RN transition. Now, the key term here is L. That means you're licensed. You have a license. Do you have to have graduated from South Texas College to enter this track? Or can you? No. You can have a license, as long as you're licensed in Texas to practice as a LVN, you can come into this track. Now, do you have to get the prerequisites for the RN program?
Yes.
Yes, you do. So if you're licensed as an LVN and you have all the prereqs, you can do the LVN to RN transition. What's another way? What's that?
To RN?
EMT?
EMT.
EMT to RN, which is very similar to the LVN to RN. You still have to have the prerequisites. This takes 1 year after your initial license, after you're in the RN program. This also takes 1 year. There's one other way. Anybody ever heard of it? It's called the VN to RN progressive. And that is a way to get into the vocational nursing program directly through my program. And it is in its 6th year. We're very successful. So this means, so there's no license here. So you apply to the vocational nursing program with all of the prerequisites for the RN program. You have to have prerequisites, co-requisites, and the HESI. You don't have to have entered a nursing, because if you go through the vocational nursing program, you have been well introduced to nursing. So you apply with all those prerequisites. You don't apply to the VN to RN progressive. You apply to the vocational nursing program. We take 60 students that have those prerequisites. We use a scale, which is the scoring sheet that the RNs use for their admission process. And the top 60 students, we will offer admission to the VN to RN progressive program. This takes place in Weslaco only. Sometimes if the RN program has an abundance of students who apply to their program at that application, we will take some of the students who did not get into the RN program. Sometimes it's a combination. What this means is that you go through the vocational nursing program. It's the same curriculum, the same classes all vocational nurses go through. We all go August to August, so you will go August to August. You graduate in August. In the fall semester after graduation, you must pass your test for licensure. You must become an LVN. You have to make an application to the RN program. That does not mean that you're going against anybody else. You're automatically admitted as long as you complete everything. You go, in the spring, you go into the RN program and go one more year to become an RN. So this is 4 ways at South Texas College that we have for people to get where they want to. The majority of the students that are in my vocational nursing program are going on to the RN program at some point. Maybe not directly right now, they will do the LV into RN transition. On Argos, which is a program that STC has lists of students and their majors, all of my vocational nursing students that are in the program right now, their goal is to become an RN. So we are the first year of nursing. We offer 598 hours of clinical, actual hands-on hours. So you will be well-versed in what you need to do as a nurse with your hands. But we also have a rigorous didactic or lecture schedule. We recommend that all of our students take the patient care assistant program. And have any of you taken it? Or any of you thinking about taking it? Okay. How about, let's talk about it. How many, do you think all of you should take it?
Yes.
Why?
It shows you exactly what you're doing with the patient.
Exactly. So the patient care tech program shows you how to do personal care for patients. That's like basic care, making beds, changing diapers, giving baths. Now, many people think, why do I need to know how to do that if I'm going to become an RN? After all, somebody else will do it. Is that right? No. How about, do I need to do it if I'm going to be an OTA or a PTA? Will somebody else do it for you?
No.
Maybe not. How about a rad tech or respiratory? If you have a patient brought to you who needs some kind of personal care, are you going to say, oh, CNA, come help me? No, you're not. You're not going to leave the person to wait for somebody to come. You're going to take care of it yourself. So we recommend that all of our students become patient care techs. They also patient care tech also teaches you how to draw blood, phlebotomy, teaches you how to do EKGs and interpret simple EKGs. So you come out of there, especially as a nurse, much farther along the road than if you just go in to a nursing program knowing nothing. If my students have come into this class several times, and they all say what a benefit it was for them to be a patient care tech. So I believe it's something. We also have a track now at STC starting this next semester, next admission. I will guarantee admission to the vocational nursing program to any patient care tech graduate from STC who also has the prereqs for my program. You're guaranteed admission to the vocational nursing program. Then we're looking to have patient care tech V into RN a straight shot. I have 10 students who have all the prerequisites for the RN program, which means they have all prerequisites for vocational nursing and their patient care tech. And they are coming into my program, 10 of them, this next year in August, and they will go straight through, providing they pass everything, to be RNs. And those nurses are going to be amazing nurses. Why do you think they're going to be amazing nurses? They're going to be supervisors, right? RNs supervise. And what does a supervisor need to know about the people that they supervise?
Everything that they do.
They need to know how to do everything that they do. So if you have and there are many people who have no idea what CNAs do, they don't know what they're capable of doing. There's many people who don't know what patient care techs do that are RNs. There's many RNs who have no idea what LVNs do. So how can you supervise people and not know what they do or have a superficial? So these nurses are also the nurses that will most likely go on to get bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and doctoral degrees. And that kind of nurse is the kind of nurse who will be hired anywhere because they know about nursing from the bottom up. We've heard about doctoral prepared nurses I have all my life who have never touched a patient. But because they are a doctor in nursing, people think they know everything, but they've never touched a patient. So how can you supervise anyone if you've never touched a patient? You can't. So we recommend that all of our students take the patient care tech program. Let's go to the last page of your application here. There's a big line right here, a big dark line. This separates the requirements are on top. You have to take everything on above that line, and the recommendations, which are extra points. Our prerequisites, starting next year, we only have biology as a prerequisite. Biology 2401 and 2402, you have to take both with a B or better, or you can take BNSG 1420. Most of our students take biology 24 and 2401 because they are going on to the RN program, and those transfer to the RN program. You must get a B or better in each one. If you make a C in biology 2401, if you retake it again and you make an A, the highest grade we will give you is a B. So if you retake any prerequisite course, even if you make an A, the highest grade we will give you is a B. Because we see transcripts of students that have taken A&P 1 6 times. And they fail once, they get a C once, then they get this, that. By that time they should have memorized the book and the curriculum. So we didn't think it was fair, or I hate the word fair, but it was quite equitable to give a person who took it one time less chance to get in than somebody who took it 4 times and made an A. So somebody that took it first time and made a B, why should somebody take it 4 times and make an A and have preference over this? So that's why we leveled it out. We give you, the points are going to change on here, but this is just for reference. We are definitely going to give 2 points for an A in college success, 3 points for an A and 2 points for a B. That we're going to do. We are going to give more points for the patient care tech program because we want you to take those courses to prepare you to come into our program. Those are the things that we want. We have an informational session, which is an advisement session, every other Thursday. If you go to the Nursing and Allied Health website to vocational nursing, it has the schedule. I want all of you who are thinking about this to go to those informational sessions. It's required to apply for the vocational nursing program. It's required. So even if your plans are to go on to the RN program, come to this one because it will offer you an alternative if you do not get into the program. So look at the first page. We require before you even apply that you are actively registered at SDC. So if you have not taken a course in a couple of years, just go and register. It doesn't mean you have to take a course, just make sure you're actively registered. We require that you have a high school diploma or a GED on your diploma. on your certificate. At the very top of your certificate, of your transcript, at the very top of your transcript, there's your name, and there's the high school and the year you graduated, or there's the GED and the year you obtained your GED. If you have a foreign transcript, we don't want to see the foreign transcript. You must have that translated by any of the translators that review transcripts that SDC accepts, and admissions can tell you who that is. Again, we don't want to see the translation. We want you to take that to SDC, and they will put it on your transcript. We ask you to apply for financial aid early. That's the largest reason that students are not able to come into programs, because they've run out of financial aid. They don't get financial aid. They think they should. Do it early so you know that you have money. And if you don't have money, then you need to plan how you're going to finance your education. Social Security number, we don't care if you have a Social Security number. The Board of Nursing doesn't care, but you know you can't work without a Social Security number, and you have to have a criminal background check done by the FBI to come into our program and to apply to our program. And many times the FBI cannot do an adequate criminal background check without having a Social Security number. So on to criminal background checks. If you know that you have any type of, if you were arrested, even if you were not convicted, or you're not sure what happened, you need to go to Beatrice Mata. She's the student clinical affairs specialist, and she will tell you about the paperwork you need to send to the Board of Nursing. Don't think because somebody told you, your lawyer, a judge, or whatever, that it was adjudicated, torn into pieces, thrown away, burned in the fireplace, whatever, that the FBI will not find it, because the FBI finds everything. It doesn't mean you cannot come into the program. It just means that the Board of Nursing wants to see paperwork that tells them what happened. So don't think that well, I'm going to take a chance. Students do that all the time. I'm going to take a chance, and then the FBI says, in whatever year we saw that you were arrested for this. The Board of Nursing wants to know what happened, and you will not get your clearance from the Board of Nursing, and you cannot apply to our program. We want you to be TSI complete, which means the reading and writing and math test, any of the tests that STC accepts as college ready, or that you are exempt from being TSI complete. The next item on here is the prerequisites. I told you about the biology 2401 and 2402 or 1420. Must make a B in each one of those. So you don't have to take all three. You have to take either the one course, 1420, which is not transferable to the RN program, or the 2 semesters, 2401 and 2402, which are transferable. The Board of Nursing, we have a little disclaimer here. We do not give you a license. No school of nursing gives a license. The license is given to you after you take a test for licensure by the Board of Nursing of the state where you have taken the test. So when you graduate from the vocational nursing program, I will sign an affidavit. It goes to the Board of Nursing that says that you have completed all the requirements for a vocational nursing program and you're eligible to sit for the test for licensure. You must pay money to the Board of Nursing and to a testing facility. It's about $320 so that you can test for licensure. Every nurse, every RN, and every LVN sits for a NCLEX test. The RNs take NCLEX RN, vocational nursing takes NCLEX PN. It's a huge bank of tests, of questions rather, that nobody could ever break into, nobody could ever memorize. It's thousands of questions, and nobody will ever get the same test because it's computer adaptive. What Mandy would answer for the first question would lead her to all the questions thereafter. What Ivy would take would be she would get another question, and it would take her, even if she got the same question, if she answered differently, it would take her all over the place. And 75 questions or 205 questions, you could pass or you could fail, depending on what the computer decides if you are safe to practice nursing as an entry-level nurse. Now, did you go to find students?
I'll get some.
Okay. I want to talk to you somewhat about now the courses that you have to take when you're in the vocational nursing program. Vocational nursing and all nursing and allied health programs are not easy. Many people think that because vocational nursing is not registered nursing, that this is going to be, we're going to show you a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and voila, you are a nurse. But that is not true. We are the first year of nursing. We teach all the courses that any nursing program, whether RN or VN teach. We teach medical surgical nursing, we teach pediatrics, we teach obstetrics, we teach pharmacology, we teach geriatrics, we teach medication administration, and we have clinicals thrown in. So let me show you the first semester. This is semester number 1 of the vocational nursing program. I'm showing you this so you can see that you're going to have to practice time management. So the first semester you're going to take 16 hours. It's mandatory. You cannot take any, you cannot pick and choose. Like some majors, you can say, well, this semester I'm going to take this, and I'll wait till next semester to take that. In all the selective admissions programs at Nursing and Allied Health, you take the courses when they're offered, and you take the instructor that's given to you. You don't get to choose instructors or choose courses. So the first semester, we have a 5-hour class that's called Nursing and Health and Illness. And it's a combination of pharmacology, medical surgical nursing, and mental health nursing. So we know, what have you learned? How many, if you take 1 hour, a 1-hour course, how many hours a week should you study to be successful?
I think 6.
Hmm?
I think it's 6.
It's 2,
Oh.
normally. But in Nursing and Allied Health, it's 3. So if you take a 5-hour course, you need to study 3 hours for every 1 hour. So you're going to be studying 15 hours for that one class a week. This course also has a 1-hour lab every week. Then we have Foundations, which is a 3-hour course. So you need to be studying 9 hours. Then we have basic skills. It is a 2-hour lecture class and a 4-hour lab class. Then we have medical administration, which is a 3-hour class with a 1-hour lab. Then we have medical terminology, 1-hour class. Then we have clinical, which is a 1-hour, you get 1 credit. However, and you have this, you're going to need to prepare paperwork for clinical, but you are in clinical 6 hours a week. Then we have clinical 1B, which is a 1-hour class, but you're in clinical 6 hours a week. Okay, let's add all this up. We know that you're in class 16 hours a week. If you're taking 16 hours, that means you're actually sitting in a class 16 hours a week. So you're in class 16 hours a week. So I told you that you have to study 3 hours for every 1 hour you take. So let's just multiply 16 times 3. If we add this up, it'll come out the same. And that's 48, right? Then we have this additional. This is 12 and 8, this is about 18 hours. So this is what you will be responsible for every week. If you add that up, it's between 78 and 80 hours that you're responsible for every week if you're going to be successful. Every time I talk to students, whether I advise or just talk to students, I say this to people. And do you know what your children do when you tell them something they don't want to hear? Or they think they know? They go. Which means, yeah, but I don't really believe you. And so, did you find students?
I did.
So these students that we're going to bring in hopefully will tell you the truth, that this is true. You're going to be responsible for a lot of hours. So how can you accomplish this? What are you learning in here that will help you? Time management. What else?
Study strategies.
Study strategies. You may not have gotten to the reading strategies, how to read a textbook yet. That's another way you need to learn, you need to read for information. Many of the things that you're learning in here are going to help you. And my students have all said that, not all of them, many of them that took College Success say they dig their binder out and they start using it once they get into the program for time management. You can see if you're taking all this, you have all these courses, you're going to have tests, sometimes 2 tests a day, sometimes a test every day of the week. You're going to have to read a lot. How are you going to keep up with things if you don't make yourself a calendar so that you'll have time management skills? How about working? Do you think you're going to be able to work?
No.
Probably not. So you need again to plan. How about your children and your families? Do you think you're going to have all the time you used to have to spend with them?
No.
So you're going to have to talk to your families and prepare. So this is the key. What does Mr. Williams tell you? How many months out?
6.
6 months out?
9 months.
9 months out? 12 months out? You need to plan. Have a plan. Yay, he's proud. Have a plan so that you can know what's going to happen to you without just being at the, I don't have anybody to take care of my kids. So what am I going to do? I have to go to clinical today. So we have some students who are going to come in and talk to you and tell you the real deal, and you can ask them questions.
Let's say thank you to Mrs. Morris.